Saint Felix. Hello, dear user. Good old Saint Felix Center. Hopefully they're not going to mind me. Uh, it's tucked away at Spadina and Queen. It's actually, I mean, I don't mind saying it's a homeless shelter. Okay, I wasn't planning to come back to a homeless shelter. I mean, the first time you go to one, you don't plan to come back ever, right, dear viewer? And so it's like cigarettes, right? Well, I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I smoke tobacco. Buddy inside gave me one. Anyway, this whole thing with like the mental illness, I need to start talking about this. I mean, there's many things I need to start talking about, dear user. Not a terribly good amount of lighting, but yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know what to say. I've reached a point, you may be surprised, where I'm like my brother, my elder brother Ali. I call him the opposite of me, right? So he's the corporate ninja. 8 years, 9 years, going on 9 years with Goldman Sachs in Dubai. He just got promoted again. He drives a golden Hummer. Pai, I'm proud of you, okay? You should know this, regardless of any of the other stuff, if there is any other stuff. So yeah, my brother has this thing somewhere on his Twitter or his... Man, there's no lighting anywhere. It's like complete dark. I think I should go inside after the cigarette, of course. Yeah, and when you smoke, funnily enough, obviously, like, this is how my life is. Security guard who works here was the last security. He was a new guard at the last site I worked at here in Toronto 2 years ago. Almost 3 years ago, I think. 2018, something like this, 2 years ago. The guy's name is Hussein, Amir Hussein. And so he was nice enough to give me, I told him, he knows I smoke tobacco, so I told him, well, I mean, he smokes weed, right? So he basically saved the tobacco for me. So that's what that was. But yeah, so that's the cigarette thing right here. Cigarettes are bad. Just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so this is silly, and it's just rambling and going around in circles. But yes, I've reached a point where, like, my brother has this thing. I think it's on his WhatsApp or something. And overhead drone. Oh, there it goes. Anyway, so yeah. So yeah, I'm still getting used to this camera and getting back into the mode of making movies, if I make movies. And I will, because I get to express myself, quite frankly, and I don't get to express myself like this to anyone else. Very few people. My wife listens to my long rambling rants sometimes. My dad. And then strangers. I'll just meet people and we'll just have really intense conversations, like one-offs. And I've had so many people, like scores, who, I was meant to hook up with. Hey man, what do you do? Okay, you did this and that. Well, let's do this and that. Let's stay in touch and whatever. And it's very hard to stay in touch for whatever reason. Anyway, so guys, I just got out of jail. Okay, I don't know if you know this. I think I made this clear. I think I put a video up there saying got out of jail. Now, I'm locked out of my Google account, my main Google account. So I've been uploading these videos on another Google account, and I don't know if I'll ever get back into this Google account, my primary Google account, because I forgot the password for my Hotmail, which is the backup to my Gmail. So I can't log into any of them, and I lost the computers. Right, I've been through so many phones and so many computers. It's been 9 months now. So right today is like February, like the 27th or something like this, and it's like more or less a year ago is when Judith and I, when I started becoming manic for again after 2 years. So Judith bought me these high-end vitamins, and so yeah, she bought me these high-end vitamins, and well, I mean, they triggered this bipolar reaction in me. So I've said this before, and there are people like me. There's a rat too, the good kind, the animal kind, not the human animal kind. Anyway, I'm just wandering around in the darkness here, and this video is so hopeless. But I mean, on the one hand, it could be hopeless, or it could be you know, just where I'm at. So my brother's thing on WhatsApp, okay, is sell your cleverness for awe, something like this. It sounds like a Sufi saying. I want to keep the Saint Felix in the background. So sell your cleverness for awe. So I was in jail for a period of 3 months, more or less. I got arrested. It sounds inconceivable, but this is what happens when you become bipolar manic. If you know anything about bipolar mania, or bipolar condition, bipolar disorder, right? The mental illness. I need to talk about this, and I need to square up to the fact that, I mean, for me, it's a case of, if I smoke weed, I started smoking weed because I thought it was a spiritual thing, and I didn't see a problem with it. I do see problems with it now. Anyway, these are long discussions. Again and again, I just keep coming to a point where there's so much to say that there's nothing to say. Is the kind of thing, right? Like, so this whole darkness, and this, it could be a dead end. It could be a low point. It could be a starting point. I don't know. It's like, I was in jail for 3 months, okay? And my dad, obviously, I talked to him a lot, and he spent hundreds of dollars thanks to Bell. They charge exorbitant rates to allow you to collect calls, right? And things like this. Anyway, so I said to him that there's people that pay like $10,000 and go to Thailand for 10 days for a meditation retreat and things like this, and they literally sit meditating for 8 to 10 hours a day with breaks and food, and then evening teaching and this and that, and walks by the lake or whatever. But for the most part, they're just literally sitting there for 10 hours a day, and it's incredibly difficult, as you may imagine. And if you haven't tried meditating, then I really I do encourage you to try it out, right? There's some people that don't seem to need it, but I think for the majority of people, there's a lot of benefits that can be had. Anyway, so going to jail is just like a meditation retreat, right? So Judith gave me these vitamins, triggered this manic reaction, ended up on the streets again. 2 months in Vancouver, 4 months here in Toronto, literally living on the street. And by the time I got to Toronto, it's like I took a flight from Abbotsford, BC to Hamilton, Ontario, and it just cost like $200 or some silly thing like this. Swoosh, right? So it's a subsidiary of WestJet. Now, I had like an incident, and they almost landed the plane, and the cops were talking to me, and it's like just the serious stuff, right? So, and after going through this for years, right? So here I am once again, normal person, never had any issues, normal life, go to school, go to high school, yada yada. Well, not really normal in as much as we traveled around a lot. University, great career, all this kind of stuff. But then there's this thing, which is this mental illness thing, this bipolar thing, okay? And this thing is everything, right? This thing is everything. It's like, obviously, your mind is everything, right? Your mind is who you are. Your mind is how you see the world. Your mind is how you appreciate and approach and take in this universe and everything that's going on. So if the mind is not correct, right, then you're in trouble, right? And it's not even that. It's like it is that. It's basically if your mind is not correct, then everything else is off of whack. And I said this to my little brother recently, because I had, in my manic state, I've destroyed all my my relationships, friendships, and family. More or less everyone who I could have alienated, I did, apart from 2 or 3 people, like my wife and my dad again, and 2 or 3 friends. Either I haven't had crazy conversations with them, but for the most part, I think I got through everyone pretty much, right? I mean, I'm a pretty personable person in a sense. I talk to everyone I come into contact with, at least in some shape or form, more or less. I mean, I don't know, like, this video is like so silly. I don't even know why I pulled it out. I was going to pull it out and say, yo, I'm at Saint Felix, and they let me into their place. And so I was in jail, okay, and I had money to so this is what happened. Okay, so I might as well just give you some facts now, dear viewer. 11 minutes. And so, yeah, so I reached a point, 2 months in jail, 3 months in jail, thought about every single thing. I mean, I literally thought about my life, like, segments at a time. Like, basically, I thought about my life, like, growing up in Scotland, and then Kuwait, and then Oman, and all these kinds of things. And so, yeah, I mean, and then you think about all these things, and ultimately, like, I found bliss. I started writing this book. I lost it. I wrote like about 10, 20 plus pages of like handwritten stuff. I actually read David Copperfield by Charles Dickens in jail, and honestly, it was worth going to jail just to read that book. 800 pages, small print. It's probably as big as one of the volumes of Lord of the Rings. It's probably in excess of 1,000 pages in full-on script. It's really small. Anyway, David Copperfield, amazing. Charles Dickens, amazing. I just need to say, this man is a poet who had the mistaken notion that he was a novelist. His flourishes of language and the things he like intuits from from gestures and thing, it's just crazy. Like, I mean, poetic in the sense that he'll talk about clouds and mountains and things like disappearing into nothingness and strange things like this. That's one aspect of his writing, the poetic aspect. Very beautiful things. Like, it's hard to describe without the book here and without popping it open and giving you examples. I read the whole thing in about 10 days, like 7, 8, 10 days, right? So usually when I have time to read, I can read like 100, 150 pages a day. Last time I was in a shelter was 2018. Just as I mentioned, I went for 2 years with no bipolar episodes, stopped smoking weed, got back together with my beautiful wife Judith, living in a dream house with a dream car and a dream dog in Calgary, who I got to name. We had trails in the back in the we had trails in the back of our house. Like, we lived on the edge of town, and there was this huge expanse of trails and things like this. Anyway, so yes, so sell your cleverness for all. So I reached a point where I started writing this book, How I Found God in Jail. I might as well tell you about this thing. I mean, this is the thing. This is where I am right now. It's a very strange thing because what happened is I was meant to get out of jail and get into a place. Like my wife got me a place, and that fell through for some reason, and I lost my bank card. And I got out, and I didn't have. I don't know. I wasn't shaven, and I was late, and I didn't go to this place. And then I lost. I just keep losing my stuff, right? So I lost some of my stuff, including my bank card, and then I had to go find a bank card. And then in the meantime, I found this very interesting character I met. Um, Actually, it's my bank card. Like I got a new bank card, and then I had it with me at a bus station. Bank card fell down, and then Buddy makes a beeline for my bank card, something like this. And I was like, "That's mine." He's like, "Oh no, it's mine," something like this. And I picked it up, and I was like, "You need money?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do," something like that. It was a very strange thing, and I took the guy at face value, right? And the guy turned out to be like one of the biggest scammers. I mean, the biggest scammer I have ever met in my life, right? So, and it's put me in a funk for days now. I mean, I still feel dazed. I feel dazed. I feel dazed, right? Uh, so basically, I was like, you need money. And he was dressed nicely, all this kind of stuff. And he said he's a Muslim too. And he's like, yeah, I do need money. I was like, sure, I can help you out with some money. And he's like, really? If you could do that, man, this and that, this and that. And I was like, yo, this is great. And I told him, I said, this is just like it says in the Quran, that the real people you should find to give money to, the really deserving people, are those people who are in need, but don't beg from all and sundry, quote unquote. They don't just ask everyone, hey, can you help me out? Can you help me out? Yo, so there are people, and this is how they are described in the Quran. This is their sign, is that they don't ask from everyone. And so I thought, this is one of these guys. This is a good chance for a good deed. So I gave him some money, and he's like, blah, 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 what are you doing? And you need a place. And, he turned all of a sudden into my guardian angel. But it turned out to be more of a guardian demon. So I forked over like $800 to this guy, something like this, if not more. He had a friend who's a realtor. His friend's going to get me one night in a bed, a very high-end Airbnb. Okay, 300 Front Street. I even went there and had a fight with the security guard there. Thank God I didn't end up back in trouble in jail. I don't know what it was. And so I came out of jail, and I guess here's something I wanted to say, and this is one of the reasons I make these videos, my dear viewer. I mean, obviously I do think about you as well, but for me it's basically just thinking out everything in my head, like just getting it out, like whatever's in my head. And it's not as much, I suppose, that there is stuff to be said, like specific stuff. It's more a case that you have like some kind of energy and you need to express it, right? And you may express it in different ways. And so that's all it is. I'm not saying that this is like the be all end all in terms of a dissertation or some kind of summation or anything equivocal like that, or anything important. Anyway, so so the guy came out and basically came out, or rather I got out and I met this guy, and he turned out to be this demon, basically. So he just took all my money, and I literally walked around after being in jail for 3 months, like bipolar crazy, just like blah blah blah, finally settled down on earth. And I was in such a good place. I actually had a fantastic time there. I was in special needs, right? And so we're locked up in our cages for 20 hours a day, if not more, 22 hours a day. So we might get out for 1 or 2 hours a day, and there may be days like, and this might be 5 days a week. We might not get out a day or two every week. So, this kind of thing. So you get used to it. I mean, the first time you go to jail, it's very tough. It's something I definitely like to write or speak about. But again, going back to this meditation thing. See, here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's and among other things, I read the Bible. I started reading the Bible in jail. I read all the Psalms. I read Deuteronomy. I read different books. John. Anyway, yeah. And so there's a very nice line in John that I've started repeating, which is to the extent that if we have, this is what John says in one of his letters, if we have food and clothes, then the rest is bonus, basically, is what he says. That's all you need. Like when Jesus, peace be upon him, sent his disciples to go and spread the word, he told them not to take any bags with them or clothes or luggage or nothing like this. And you'll find lines in the, like my wife tells me, you'll find lines in the Bible. Well, I mean, I've read these, and most people are familiar with the verses. Think about the birds. The birds, for example, don't pay any attention to tomorrow, right? So, as for human beings, we're trapped in this mind, right? We're trapped in this mind, right? And it could be this dark thing, and now suddenly it's lit up. And so once again, it's all perspective. And the thing is this. It's just like something Don Juan says. I really apologize if you're listening to this hoping for some gems of wisdom or something interesting. I'm just struggling big time here. I have no idea what I'm just trying to power through 30 minutes of this and try and get some of it out because it needs to be said. Because I'm finally, I had a change of clothes today. Been wearing the same clothes forever. So yeah, I got out, lost all my money, and had to trudge around. This was the worst part of it, is that I had to trudge around in like minus 20, minus 30 degrees, snow and chill and middle of the night and no idea what I'm doing and just wandering around. And it's like, what? This was not meant to be. I mean, this is the thing. Then it's like, yo, I already paid my dues. I'm back, normal again. I'm not like manic anymore. And it's like I had everything set up. And it's like, why did all this happen, right? And then I ended up in this place. And for the last, I've been here about a week now, like maybe 5 days. So for the most part, I've been kind of just in a state of kind of numbness, right? And I still feel that. And I guess one thing I wanted to say is that since last June and July I spent in Vancouver. Okay, so June and July, and then May. Okay, so May. Okay, yeah, June, July. So since June. So I think it's 9 months, right? June to December is something like 9 months. Like January, February, and yeah. So it's 9 months. So for 9 months, I've basically just been in La La Land, more or less, until the last couple of months and coming to jail, and then it's now dawning on me, and I realize that I feel like I need to relearn how to exist in the world, how to just, I don't know, it's like I'm walking around and I just feel like very strange and I feel like a stranger. Anyway, so that's what that is. 24 minutes. I don't know if I've said anything. So anything meaningful. I did want to just kind of recount what's been going on. So obviously the plan is to get my own place now and blah, 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 this kind of stuff. And I guess this was just a vintage shot. This building over here is one of the most beautiful buildings ever. If you see it from the front of the street, I probably shouldn't draw too much attention to it, but in any case, so that's what that is. And so, yes, John's statement is similar to a statement of Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, and his family, that I've actually recounted for years. It's a saying of his I really love. The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family, he said, if a person wakes up, starts their day, and they have everything they need for that day, then if they have everything, like in terms of food and clothes and provision, then he says it's like they've been given the good of this life and the next. The good of this life and the next. Right? So that's exactly what John says in his letters, right? So it's like if you have food and clothes, so if you have your basic essentials, after that it's all in your head, right? I mean, obviously I look like a bum right now. If you actually looked at my clothes, it's crap. I look crap. So I mean, obviously, nice clothes. Let's say you've got nice clothes. I mean, if you're poor, you're poor. That's one thing. And I don't know. Like, see, this is the thing. Everything just leads to other things, right? I mean, I guess the point is this: that if you're not hurting and you have food and clothes and shelter and all this kind of stuff, like these beautiful people letting me stay here, then everything else is in your mind, right? And this is a fact. This is a fact, right? This is something that I think most people realize and most people think about. So if you're not happy and you have food and clothes and you live in this amazing world, right? In this amazing time and age, like we live like gods, right? I've started saying, like, if you compare yourself to someone who lived just 100 years to 150 years plus ago, going back forever in time, tens of thousands of years or whatever, however long human history is, we live like gods. Like back in the day, people didn't have different kinds of fruits and food and clothes and all these kinds of things. And right now we complain about our choices and consumerism and all this kind of stuff. In any case, at the end of the day, if you have the basic things you need, then what I've realized is that you need to work on yourself, right? Because if you have everything you need, what's left is what you want, and what you want will never be satisfied. And these are kind of banal statements that everyone's heard and no one believes in, but really what it is this: there's this incessant flow of thoughts, your ego-based thoughts that you're trapped in and I'm trapped in, and we need to deal with this stuff. We need to sort out the valid stuff from the BS. And in fact, I wanted to say, and I'll end on this because it's just a couple minutes here coming up, the strangest and most doom-ridden video of all, I suppose. So how I found God in jail. Here's all it is. Man arafa nafsa faqad arafa rabbah. So Imam Ali, peace be upon him, said, he said, whoever recognizes, man arafa, there's alama and then there's arafa. Alama means to know, arafa means to recognize, right? So whoever recognizes himself recognizes his Lord. And so here's all it is. Here's what it is. So there's, on WhatsApp, we've got this amazing group with my brother, elder sister, younger brother, and then all of the kids, and there's like 10 or 12 people on there, and the wives and stuff like this, and a lot of nice interaction. And I'm usually the black sheep in that, and I usually keep getting kicked out of it or piss people off and stuff like this. I can't help it. I don't know. Every family has a black sheep. Anyway, coming up on 30 minutes here. So my brother sent this thing about this guru, like a video or some kind of something about this dude. And this guru in India, he's a famous guru. I forget his name. But he achieved enlightenment, apparently, or the cessation of delusions, or the annihilation of the ego, or these, this ego-based mind, how do we master it is the question. This is what enlightenment would be. And it's never over, right? As long as you're alive, there is always room for error and room for a fall from grace and all this kind of stuff. To say that you reach a point where there's absolutely no suffering and there's total enlightenment and there's total bliss and there's total unity, this would seem a bit far-fetched, quite frankly. Anyway, I could be mistaken. This guru, according to my elder brother in this video, I watched this thing and I read about this dude and I got really interested in it, and I read his, he'd written this little handbook. The question, who am I, is what this guy used to attain to enlightenment. Who am I? And this is what he would tell his students, that you just meditate and you meditate on the question, who am I? That's it. And you just keep meditating. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And this thing, it sounds great. I couldn't do it. And I finally figured it out. Man arafa nafsa faqad arafa rabba, says Imam Ali. Whoever knows himself, whoever recognizes himself. So here's what it is. My wife Judith and I, we had the opportunity. So I've gone over 30 minutes here. I hope I don't go on too long. I don't even know how the sound's going to be like, but I'm hoping it's going to be enough. For the most part, this thing is just for me to send to my close people, as well as obviously I really do appreciate you. If you're one of my rare and very odd and very rare users, I can't upload this onto my real channel anymore, unfortunately. So I don't know what to do about that. Maybe I'll just email it to a bunch of people. But this is very important and very interesting, and it's in fact everything. And so please give me a minute if you've gotten this far, just to understand exactly what it is I'm about to say, which is the following, which I'm trying to say, which is the following. So my wife and I went from Calgary to Seattle once, and then to Vancouver. We made 2 visits to visit. Parahamsa Nityananda is the guy's name. He's an Indian guru. He's about my age. He's got like tens of thousands of followers and ashrams all over the world, and he's a very successful and savvy marketer. Not to mention a guru. He's an amazing guy. My friend Romy, Indian fellow from Winnipeg originally, lives in Vancouver. Flips condos, things like this. He actually ended up going and living with this man on his in his ashram in India for some time, and so he was really into it. And he called me up once, or I was on the phone with him, and it's amazing actually. He's changed his life. Quite frankly, Romy now runs a successful art gallery of all things. I mean, he's an artist. He creates. I was looking for leaves or something. There's a tree here, but he'll create like a 6-foot long fern or leaf or something, like a twig or a branch or something out of paper mache. And so this is what he does, and this is after meeting Nityananda. So I'm very sure that his experience, his profound spiritual transformative experience had a lot to do with this, because Romy was basically a sales guy and a businessman. Like an artist was like literally the farthest thing that I would have imagined this guy could end up being. In any case, he's like, yo, this guy, he's like, man, you got to come over here and meet this guy. He's like the modern day Buddha. And we were doing really well, my wife and I was working at another like Fortune 500 software company, and my wife's business was doing really well, and we didn't have any bills, and we had plenty of money. And so we traveled to Vancouver, then we traveled to Seattle. And so the guru once told a story of, he stabbed a knife into his leg. He stabbed when I was a kid, my sister and I were playing on the bed, and there's a compass that you used to draw circles with. And I remember that getting stuck in my leg, and I pulled it out, and it didn't even bleed, and there's a hole, and it was so weird. I suppose I didn't hit a vein. In any case, so Nityananda, the guru. I'm going over 35 minutes here, but this is definitely worth it, and it's worth it for this whole video. And if anyone watches this and actually gets to this end part and understands exactly what I'm trying to say and what's come out of all of this, I wanted to quickly summarize what's been going on and the kind of funk that I've been in. And I've just kind of been bumbling around, and my wife's kind of been worried about me, and I just haven't, like, not depressed, but just and just in a strange kind of, like, just feeling like an automaton, just like bouncing around from one incident to the next. And frankly, at the end of the day, they're all the same. I was going to say something earlier about just what's out there, right? What's out there. So Don Juan used to tell Carlos Castaneda that a warrior basically needs to have a sense that there's something just unbelievably, like, there's something bigger than him out there. Something like this is the starting point of that statement. But actually what's out there is inconceivable. And another point, he says to Castaneda that lies and deceptions are only for those people who haven't come face to face with what is out there, right? So you don't have to, like, delve into the transcendental and kind of like shoot like flaming arrows to heaven or something. You can just look at the universe at large and in general, and you'll be blown away by how amazing and how profound, and it's just like too much. And this is in fact what is too much. When you I don't know what to say. It's like the whole thing is like so awesome. Awe is the right word. It's not fear. It's not like, oh my God, like you're like shivering in your booties. It's kind of like you're on the edge, and it's like you never know what's going to happen. This is the thing. You don't know what's going to happen. Someone could run out of this door, down the steps, run up to me right now and say anything. Something was stolen and you stole it and we're charging you, or there's a fire, or you did this or that, or something good or something bad, or someone could come down there, or anything could happen, and it usually does, like they used to say in the Mickey Mouse Club. Anyway, so guys, what's out there is inconceivable and immense and intense, okay? And then once you have your food and clothes and basic necessities, of course have have dreams, have everything you want as a standby, right? Don't let it depress you. I mean, I've spent like 10 or 15 or 20 years like failing miserably. Like when I was 15, I wrote my first book, like 50 pages of like a horror book. And like I carried that around. Well, I mean, not when I was 15, when I was in college, whatever, like for 10, 20, 50, 25 years, I've had dreams. And it's like the Carcass song, Buried Dreams. Welcome to a world of buried dreams, right? And you're smothered by the sands of fate. Anyway, so here's what it is. So Nityananda, the guru, had plunged a knife into his leg or something. He had a wound on his leg, and he asked his guru about this thing. His guru told him, this is what his guru said to him that blew me away. Like, and this is the kind of thing Nityananda, my friend Romi's guru, and I suppose my own, like I would call myself, I'd like to be counted among his followers. Sure, I'm a Muslim. I don't care. That dude is like a font of wisdom. It doesn't matter, right? I'm a Muslim. I'm married to a beautiful Christian. She's like 1,000 times better than most Muslims I meet. Apart from some exceptions, like a beautiful lady inside. I went up to get a shower and she gave me like a new shirt, and it made me so happy. And a bunch of stuff like toiletries and all this kind of stuff. Little things like this like make a big difference. Anyway, so this is what Nityananda's guru said to him when Nityananda, the guru, asked his own guru about the wound in his leg. His guru said to him, ask yourself who's feeling the pain. Something like this. Ask yourself who's feeling the pain. He was complaining about the pain. See, the thing became immediately a meditational exercise, a spiritual exercise. In fact, I dare say the same spiritual exercise that this other guru that my brother shared on his WhatsApp group, on our WhatsApp group, alluded to. The same kind of spiritual exercise. So the guy stabs his leg, and then it's like, ask yourself who's feeling the pain, right? So, like the question of I/me. Okay, so this is what I realized. I did a lot of meditating when I was inside, right? A lot of meditating. And this is why I told my dad and my wife that it was just like going to a meditational retreat. And moreover, there's another saying of Prophet Muhammad, or somebody asked him once, what's the thing that you like the most? This was before he became a prophet. And the person who asked him actually was a famous Christian monk. Okay, Bahira, the guy's name was Bahira. He lived on the outskirts of Damascus on the way to Syria, something like this. And Imam Ali's dad, who was the Prophet Muhammad's uncle, Abu Talib, used to take the Holy Prophet on caravan trading kind of journeys and travels and missions and whatnot. And so they met this guy, this monk, and this monk asked him, among other things, what is the thing that you like the most? And the answer was solitude. So this is the thing with solitude. Obviously, I mean, we're all fixated on people. I've myself been, I'm fixated on people. Everyone's fixated on people, but I've been more of a loner than most people my whole life. And so I don't mind it. And inside, frankly, I loved it. I don't know if it's because I've gotten to a point where it's like I don't know what it is. I don't know what to say, and I don't know how to explain it. It's like this uncertainty is one way of putting it. Everything, everywhere. You don't know what you're looking at. You don't know who might say what or what might happen, who might come out of somewhere and do you a good, do you a bad. You have no idea what tomorrow is going to bring. Like, forget tomorrow. Just like right now. I mean, I don't know. It's like I feel like I've been in a vacuum, like orbiting some kind of planet in a space pod or something. And now I'm finally back on Earth, and it's like now I gotta learn how to work and do different things like this. Anyway, I'm rambling. I just wanted to update folks to let you know I'm doing okay. And then, okay, yeah. So this guru asked the question. So this question, who am I? This is just one way of talking about this thing. The thing of it is to have a sense of yourself. This is it. To have a sense of yourself. So instead of being trapped, so this is what it is. It's amazing. This is like 20, 30 years for me of diligence and reading, and I mean, obviously jerking about and working and getting married and traveling and things like this. But I've thought about these things forever. And for me, these things are huge. And again, you've got your ego-based mind. Okay, so read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle if you're interested. I'm sure you're familiar with the fellow. He lives on Vancouver Island. My wife says he sounds gay. He has an effeminate voice. Like that has anything to do with it, right? She won't listen to his videos because he sounds like the way he sounds. This is very odd. Anyway, my wife's beautiful. So Eckhart Tolle sucks it on this account. But in any case, you've got this chattering in your mind, in your head, your ego-based chattering, and they've told us forever that this thing that's chattering, this is not you. This is not you. This is a thing. It's like an alien being has taken over you, and you. It's like when you say, "Oh, I just can't take it anymore." The Eckhart Tolle himself had this whole thing where like he was depressed for 20, 30 years, and finally he just woke up screaming like, I can't take it anymore, something like this. And then he realized that there had to be two of him. One that was this ego-based crap that is just creating negativity and pain and not really solving anything. Like, you know what? Here's what we're looking for. I might as well just, I don't know. I'm just going to say this. As a marketer, right? As a marketer, it's very interesting to me that, the impulse to buy. Impulse to buy is just like the impulse to be saved. Okay, impulse to be saved, impulse to buy. So impulse to be saved, impulse to buy is this notion that we have that there's one thing that will take care of everything. And we have it. We all have it in our brain. And so most of us, all of us, myself included, obviously, we're not as happy as we would like to be. And there's a lot of things wrong in life for whatever reason that is. I think it's our conditioning. I think there's no two ways about it. Kids are perfectly happy. Animals don't seem to be that stressed, or I don't know what it is with humans. Anyway, we're not rational. This is for shizzle. We're not rational. We're not rational. We pride ourselves on being rational, but we are the epitome of irrationality. We are not rational. We don't do it. Like this whole thing. It's like 46 minutes of this just rubbish. It was just meant to be a quick, brief update. Anyway, so now, who am I? So this guru would preach to his students. He said, I sat around meditating for years, meditating on the question, who am I? Who am I? All he was pointing to was sense of self, okay? The same thing Nityananda's guru said. Nityananda hurt his leg or stabbed his leg, and he was complaining to his guru. His guru said, just ask yourself who is feeling the pain. So here's what it is. When you're meditating, okay, this is another set of discussions. Like when you're meditating, what are you meant to be focused on? Or do you not focus on anything? Or blah, 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 blah. I mean, some people visualize something. Some people literally look at a candle. Some people concentrate on their breath. Some people, like all kinds of stuff. And no one has been able to say for sure, as far as I can tell, that this is what you should be looking for. And so these are the kinds of things that I was mapping out in great detail inside. And I had a lot of time, and I went into a lot of detail, and it was just amazing for me. Like the 3 months inside, it was just like, in a way, it was like the best 3 months of my life. I don't know what to tell you. Like you might think, what a sad man. What a sad fellow. He doesn't have any friends. He doesn't have a life. Blah, blah, blah. I'll just say this to you. All this thing that you call friends and life, cars are pretty cool and technology is pretty cool. That's about it. It cannot compare to a good book. Let me just put it to you like this. Okay, and this is something that either Hemingway or one of these guys said. Okay, Ernest Hemingway. He said, I'd rather, instead of traveling the world, and this was back in the day, I'd rather have a good book. Same thing with Charles Dickens and David Copperfield. Reading that book, the characters in that book, I was so attached to those characters. It's impossible to explain. Even to this moment, I'm so attached to those characters because he has this gift. He's a genius, obviously. It goes without saying. Poet who mistakenly thought he was an author, novelist. Okay, but then the way he captures the nuances of human emotion and psychology and drama and the foibles, right? The way people gesture as they're talking, and the way they kind of just enact these different speeches and all this amazing stuff, like amazing characters. Anyway, so that's all I'm trying to say. This whole thing of there's something out there that I want that's going to make me happy. This is something you've probably heard too. Anyway, I don't want to get into any of that stuff. It's all rubbish. It's all total nonsense. I've started reading the Bible now, and my wife's been asking me to for years. If you have food and clothes, then the rest is bonus, okay? And so in terms of the mental stuff, all you need to do in order to stop the flood of thoughts or whatever it is. Don Juan used to tell Carlos Castaneda to think of death. Think of death. You have to stalk yourself, according to Carlos Castaneda and Don Juan, those books by Carlos Castaneda and his teacher Don Juan. Stalk yourself, stalk yourself. And so, again, you're looking for this sense of self. Who am I? Right? So you got hurt in the leg, and the guru says, ask yourself who's feeling the pain. So what happens is this, and this is what I found, and this is what I'm going to end on. And I appreciate you listening to all of this. I still don't believe that there are people that listen to all of this stuff. But I do appreciate it. And for me, it's catharsis as well as other things. When you're meditating, if you read, last reference, Autobiography of a Yogi is a famous book from the 60s. And it might have been this guy who had 96 Rolls Royces, but this is a great book on spirituality and meditation. That guy's guru, that guy's teacher told him, the guy who wrote this book, the famous yogi, he told him, when you're meditating, it's enough to have a sense of God. And this is something I've always thought myself. And I've always I've not really questioned people who meditate because I respect them and stuff like this, but I've always thought to myself, if you don't believe in God, then what are you doing? Like, are you trying to, like, I guess what you're trying to do is you're trying to still the thoughts and then reach a point of awareness. And in fact, it's more than that. I discovered just recently, in like the last couple of years, that basically you're to still your thoughts because they're arbitrary and subjective. This is one thing. So that's meditation. But the sirens blazing in the night. But you can actually even go beyond emotions. And this is what it is. You go beyond thoughts. Let's see, like some kind of incident. All right, I'm leaving. This is too much. Okay, so again, who am I? Who am I? The guru would tell his students, meditate on who am I? Who am I? Think about this. And here's all it is. All it is, it's hard to talk about. This is the thing. It's a very strange thing. You just need to have a sense of yourself. Instead of being lost in thoughts, be grounded in self. That's it. I'm just going to leave it at that. So thoughts, goodbye. So Don Juan would tell this, as strange as it seems, apparently this is the normal modus operandi. I think for the most part, kids are this way. Kids are not lost in their head. I was, but kids are not really lost in their thoughts the whole time. They're spontaneously enacting their, emotions, and they're living. They're spontaneously whatever, just they're being spontaneous, whatever. So who am I? And so there you go. That's all it is. And so this whole thing. So when you're okay, so Don Juan would tell Castaneda this. You need to. This is a part of the package of the Toltec system of warriorship that's gone on for thousands of years, like down back to the Mayas and all this, like Aztecs or some nonsense like this. Stalking yourself is a big part of this whole thing. Stalking yourself, as in whatever that means. And part of that is a statement of his, for example, that when a warrior feels confused or uncertain or something like this, when things are not clear, then you think of death, right? And death gives you this crucial bit of sobriety. What is it, death? So, and I've tried this for years, like dear user or viewer, like 20 years. Like I read Carlos Castaneda, my friend Aliak Chernia gave me a Castaneda book, or introduced me to Carlos Castaneda back in 1994. And so this is another thing I actually discovered in jail. When you think about death, I used to think about some far off thing that is just so abstract that it doesn't have any real value. Anyway, so what's the purpose? The purpose of thinking of death in any case, is so that you detach yourself from whatever you're holding onto in your brain that's that you're fixated on. Like what it boils down to is whatever you're and me, whatever we are fixated on is an arbitrary and subjective thing. It's not real. It's a thought. It's something. It gets scary, dear user, and I need to talk about this kind of stuff too. Everything that you call I slash me, like you, like your name and you and your history and everything about you, these are all thoughts and labels. They're thoughts, labels, and words. It's a scary thing because you don't know what you're going to be thinking next. You don't know what you're going to be thinking in a minute. You don't know where these thoughts are coming from. This is a big deal, right? So we've got these empires, and we've got these egos. And we don't even know what I don't know what I'm going to be thinking in a minute, let alone what's going to happen tomorrow. And this is how puny and silly we are in the scale of things, and it amazes me, and it amuses me, and it befuddles me that people are so caught up in their own story. They're so caught up in like, wow, we're so great, and civilization and all this kind of stuff and buildings. Really, have you met like Stephen Harper? Well, Stephen Harper's not that bad anymore, frankly. But some of these people, like, you meet like people who have made it, quote unquote. I mean, in some sense, Trump is one of those people, wouldn't you say? Anyway, so who cares? I don't want to go there. I actually, quite frankly, I've started admiring the guy after studying like the Nazis for 4 years. For some weird reason, I started